Well, when a family member is sick, caring for them can be stressful on the family, and it can be really tough. And joining us today, Father David Ross. He's, of course, community engagement at LCC and administrator of St. Rose and St. John's parishes. And to talk about that, and, you know, Alzheimer's came to mind and stuff, but it's tough on families when we have to take care of a loved one, isn't it?
Well, I'll tell you, Holly, I'm over 72 now. I'm becoming a little bit forgetful. And, of course, that's not uncommon at my age. But there are an estimated 6.2 million Americans 65 and older. That's 1 in 9 adults 65 and over who suffer from Alzheimer's in our country. And my grandfather had it. My father had Alzheimer's. I'm just hoping to get fat and not get Alzheimer's. But in any case, that's a problem that I worry about on occasion. But what happens is this: oftentimes when we talk about Alzheimer's, most of it, what I've read, focuses on the individual who has the disease. But I'd rather focus on the families, because I deal with a lot of families who have to deal with this situation, this circumstance. And there was an interesting article put out by Mayo Clinic to talk about how families can deal with this issue. And they're suggesting 5 particular things. The first thing they want to do is talk about the fact that family members have to learn how to share responsibility. Not everybody is able to have the same kind of time to devote to the parent or the grandparent or the friend or the aunt or uncle. But what they have to do is talk about actually sharing the responsibilities. One of the greatest problems I hear from people is, well, my brother didn't do this, or my sister didn't do that, or my kids didn't do this or didn't do that. And I think it's important to recognize that in the conversation we have, we talk about how responsibility is shared, who's got the resources, especially the emotional resources, to deal with the issue. And then the second thing we have to talk about is how the family members, how the family members have to meet regularly. And they'd oftentimes do this. Now, even though there may be people in Illinois and down in southern Indiana, with Zoom today, people can meet regularly and evaluate the care and the needs of the person who's got the disease. Thirdly, to communicate honestly. Here's what happens oftentimes when people start to communicate in family. Well, why didn't you do this? Or don't you understand this? Instead of using you words, Mayo recommends using I words. I'm feeling distressed. I'm feeling tired. I'm feeling anxious. And feelings are neither good nor bad. They just are. When we talk about our feelings, instead of criticizing other people, we're going to get far further with our family members. And that brings me to my next point. Oftentimes people are very critical of each other in families when it comes to a family member who has Alzheimer's. And while the person who has Alzheimer's doesn't understand it, it just creates tremendous rifts among people. It really does in families. So this is why it may be helpful, Mayo suggests, for family members to join a support group, and there are those around for Alzheimer's, or to get some counseling. And we do it for this purpose. After mom or dad is gone, after aunts or uncles are gone, you'll have no regrets. One of the biggest things I hear from people is, oh, if only I would have done this. Or what happens is it just simply tears families apart, and there's resentment. And it goes on for years and years and years. I've seen people in families not talk to each other after a parent passes. And so I think it's a simple thing of communicating honestly, not being critical, and understanding what resources we do have.
Right, yeah. It's important to talk, isn't it? Yeah.
But before we get off,
one more thing.
I want to remind people about the Interfaith Ecumenical Service tonight at Fro Park, just above the ball diamond in the pond. It's going to be a good event for Lima, Ohio.
Right, yeah. And you think it's important for all the different faiths to get together and to do this?
I do. I mean, I just think we need this in Lima. We have such a panoply of religious practices in Lima, religious beliefs in Lima, that it's helpful to break down prejudices. And golly knows where there's enough prejudice in our community that we can certainly work upon in these days.
I think it starts at 6 o'clock tonight, right?
6 to 8, Fro Park, Shelter House number 3, I think, up on top, yeah.
I think it's number 1 on top, but whatever.
Well, we could go to 1.
Whatever.
If you want to go to 3, just walk over to 1.
Just find the right shelter house and we can enjoy it. All right.
Thanks, Holly.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, Father.
Thank you.
All right, don't go away. New Tradition continues in a moment.
It's here this week.